Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and it's been a while since we really ticked anyone off. So today we're going to be ranking all the fighting styles available in Fifth Edition Dungeons and Dragons. Sam, you got anything to say before we begin?
I can't wait to see where we end up putting defense.
People got some opinions on these.
That's true. For what are flat bonuses to attack rolls, people are very passionate.
All right, well, without further ado, let's get on with the list. Okay, starting out, we have Archery.
I am pretty convinced this is the best fighting style, but it might just be because ranged weapons are busted in this game. It's also really, really boring though, so I'm not allowed to give it an S tier just on like a personal level, you know?
I don't think it's boring. I mean, we'll get to defense when we do, but I think this doesn't have quite the same issue. It is just like a flat bonus, but it's something you're actively doing.
You're doing the same thing you were doing before, but you're doing it 10% better. And that's a large percent. Don't get me wrong. That you're gonna get a lot more things with this. It is great. I just don't get the excitement of it. If this is gonna be one of the best fighting styles, it probably has to go in S. I don't expect anything to surpass Archery as far as like, oh, this is actually amazing on every character that wants it.
I don't either.
All right, S tier then. This gets to be the
I'm
ceiling.
pushing for S. I think this is going to be the only S tier, so we need to put something there.
You might be right.
Yeah. One more time. What exactly does Archery do?
It's very. We can read all these. They're very short. You gain +2 bonus to attack rolls made with ranged weapons. So the weapon has to be ranged. It can't be thrown. That's a notable difference. But
well, we've got something for the thrown weapons later. But yeah, archery. I mean, ranged weapons are a big part of the game. If you're using ranged weapons, a +2 bonus to hit, stacked on top of other bonuses you can get. It's amazing. Yes. All right, next up.
Counteracts, one of the best feats in the game, sharpshooter. So
yes, partially.
Plays great with that.
Absolutely. Next up, Blessed Warrior.
This is the Paladin exclusive. You get you learn 2 cantrips of your choice in the cleric spell list. They are Paladin spells for you and all that jazz. I don't hate this thing, but it is not serving the purpose the Paladin needs it to, and that's why I think it probably deserves D.
D? Whoa. Yeah. Paladins don't get any cantrips naturally, right?
Right, but like their list options are Guidance, Light, Mending, Resistance, Sacred Flame, Spare the Dying, Thaumaturgy, and Toll the Dead.
All right, not an amazing list to choose from there.
Yeah, it's Guidance and another.
Yeah.
Now, if your group doesn't have Guidance and you want Guidance, that's fine. The opportunity cost, I think, is very large. I think your combat genuinely takes a dip for doing this, though. And I don't think most Paladins are willing to take the trade-off whenever 90% of what they expect to be doing in combat is hit things with big swords.
D feels harsh, but
maybe it's C. I think there will be characters that can play with this, and it will be entirely reasonable. It does give you extra out-of-combat utility. I just think that most characters aren't better with it. That doesn't mean most characters can't use it, at least.
All right, well I'm going to put it at a tentative C, and maybe we'll rethink it later.
Okay.
Next up, we have Blind Fighting.
So this thing says you have a blind sight with a range of 10 feet. Within that range, you can effectively see anything that isn't behind total cover, even if you're blinded or in darkness. Moreover, you can see invisible creatures within that range unless the creature successfully hides from you. I like this thing a lot as a second fighting style. I have a very hard time taking this in my first one unless I have some kind of cheeky little build going down, right? Like I want to be, I find a way to get a lot of darkness, and I intend to kick things in the nards while in the dark. I could see that.
You still have to be right up in their face.
Yeah, you want to be in the darkness with them, and the darkness shouldn't be that wide. That being said, again, I do think there'll be a decent number of environments where it will help. Like against invisible creatures, whatever, but blinded is a real thing that'll come up. Darkness is a real thing that comes up. I could see that being fine, but I still don't expect most characters will want or need this. So C, like I'm not taking this over most other of my first ones for builds, and that makes it hard to
Yeah.
get on a character sheet.
Yeah, it's this one's. I mean, yeah, like I said, you could build around it, but as a martial character getting fighting styles, it's. I mean, unless they were doing some multi-class stuff, it feels tough to build around effectively.
Definitely, it almost has the prereq of building around it, or multi-classing. Like you might like Gloom's Dark Ranger doesn't even get darkness we discussed recently, so you can't even like go in on that. Yeah, it seems tough. It seems tough.
And I mean, it's only really effective if you're melee.
Yeah.
So that's not helpful either. All right, here it is. Defense.
While you are wearing armor, you gain +1 bonus to AC. Woo!
I mean, all right, it's not going in F. That is a thing that you get. It does
It's
something.
a real bonus. It's like you put it on the characters that are stacking AC, right? You put it on the characters that want just to go, I want a 24 AC so nothing hits me. And to that I say, fine, but like I want my abilities to help me end fights, not prolong them, and AC is a way to prolong fights. Now you want some amount of, if you're dead, you can't win a fight. So you want some amount
That's
of
true.
protective measures, right? You want some amount of durability. I don't think defenses need a durability, and I think I will take easily both blind fighting and druidic warrior over it. Now, I will admit this probably has an easier time and will perform better on more characters than either of those likely will. So I think this probably can get a B.
Ooh.
And it's technically a boon that it contributes to some powerful things. I don't think I want it on most character sheets.
And I think I mean, like I said, archery I like because it's something I'm using while I'm doing something. Man, not everybody puts as much value into that. I mean, maybe part of the appeal of defense is that you stick it on your character, you never have to think about it again. It's just, all right, my AC is now 1 higher than it was.
I feel like I should bump this down to C tier now for some reason.
I was just talking it up.
Yeah, I know. But like that whole time, I'm just thinking like, God, this thing is so boring.
But we're not grading these on boring. I mean,
But like it's entirely reactive. It doesn't help at all give you any direction as to what you want to do. This doesn't help you hit a thing. This doesn't give you mechanics involving the dice. It doesn't empower a specific way of fighting. It just, do you exist? Great, plus an AC. And I don't see that being a really great option if I want to like build a character to do proactive things, to win at fights. I want almost all of the other options over this as far as helping me end fights first. I think we should bump this down to C.
All right.
I started in D, Bob.
Yeah,
I worked
I
my way
know.
up a little bit too high.
You gave me the archery.
Right.
But I mean, having a higher armor class does help you win fights.
Yeah, but the characters that it helps you not lose fights, and there's a very big difference there because you still at a point have to win the fight, and you want tools that help you win the fight, and this helps you not lose the fight, right? That difference is hard to express exactly, but +1 extra AC isn't going to be as impactful as helping me hit a thing 1 extra time most of the time, especially because you're making more attacks than the enemies are, and you're not likely to die every single encounter. This is going to be stacked on top of Paladin's already 19 AC, and that's ghoulish overkill, right? You're going to die from the party members going down before you're going to go down. If you have if you have one character with a super high AC, the allies dying are the problem. You dying isn't the problem.
Yeah. All right. C feels good.
Disagree. I hate this thing, but I think it's fair.
All right. Moving on. Druidic Warrior.
This one is really tough. So this is the Ranger exclusive. It's 2 cantrips in the Druid spell list. Otherwise, it's the same as Blessed Warrior. I like the Druid cantrip list slightly better, I think.
Yeah, but it's still not great.
Most of its damage spells is the problem. If you want to do cute Shillelagh Wisdom Ranger things in combat, yeah, okay, there you go. You do it with this. That's kind of a cute fighting style, right? Like you use Shillelagh with extra attack, you go full whiz. That could be fun.
Yeah.
That's a niche build, though.
Oh,
I have a hard time giving up archery.
What?
You'd have to take this instead of archery, right? Like,
oh yeah.
You either take this instead of even like 2-weapon fighting. Do I like this better than 2-weapon fighting? I don't think so.
No. What are our other druid cantrip options?
The Druid cantrip list, the highlights are Druidcraft to me. Guidance.
Nope.
The cosmetic cantrips of Gust, Mold Earth, Produce Flame, Shape Water. There's Thorn Whip, Shillelagh, Resistance, that kind of stuff.
Thorn Whip, I could see, maybe.
I couldn't. I'm a ranger. I have a longbow.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
true.
wasting my turn doing a d6 damage.
Well, I'm more for the pulling, but yeah, you're probably right.
Just run at them then.
Yeah.
Like, throw something at them. I don't know. I think this isn't that much better than blind fighting. I don't
think it's much better at all. I
the
mean, like
Shillelagh
you
thing is
said,
cute,
yeah, but
right?
you're
Like
already
the
a
Shillelagh
ranger.
build is cute.
You're already a ranger, though. You're a pretty tough guy. You got weapons. I
Yeah.
don't know how much you need a magic stick.
I mean, the idea is you get to have high whiz saves as well, or high
Yeah.
save DCs as well.
Yeah.
I don't think that's that much of a talking it up. So another comfortable C tier. Like I think
C's
you
getting
can.
crowded.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I can envision there being characters that are fine with this. So that seems like a C tier to me.
All right, that's fair. How about dueling?
This feels very comfortably B to me. So this is when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you get a +2 damage rolls with that weapon. +2 damage is great. It's easy to use. You do longsword and attack stuff. Not that hard to make happen. You do it with rapier duelists. You do it with, again, longsword duelists. I see a lot of paladins take this for that reason.
Yeah.
Having the, like, this also kind of secretly reads, this is the fighting style for shields, because there isn't a fighting style for shields. So, you know.
Yeah, you can use a shield with this, so yeah, that's
there isn't a good fighting style for shields.
Nothing else to say? B tier?
+2 damage to 2 or 3 attacks seems decent to me.
Yeah, feels good. All right.
Boring still, but yeah. Difference between this and defense, commoners. This helps end fights. So this does more raw damage that reduces enemy hit points faster, which is going to lead to you surviving longer and actually getting a win in the encounter and not having someone die, which I vote higher than AC. That's just my thought process. Maybe that thought process is wrong. Let me know in the comments.
Oh, they will.
I know.
All right. Great weapon fighting.
I am a great weapon fighting apologist. And I know that. And I know mathematically it's not great.
All right, remind me what this does again, because I always get confused with Great Weapon Master.
Okay, so Great Weapon Fighting says, when you roll a 1 or a 2 on a damage die for an attack you make with a melee weapon that you are wielding with 2 hands. You can re-roll the die and must use the new roll, even if it's a 1 or a 2. The weapon must have the 2-handed or versatile property that gains benefit.
All right, that doesn't sound really great to me.
So I like it a lot because it gives me an active boon to attacks I make with my greatsword whenever they are worse. So, like, here's how I like to conceptualize this, right? If I roll a 4 to 5 on my great weapon or my greatsword attack, right?
Yes.
My 2d6 sword, I'm happy with that outcome. I did a big chunk of damage at him for 10. If I roll a 1 and a 5, I'm less happy. Now, whenever I'm less happy, I have the empowerment. I have the ability to reroll that 1 into a better number. And the average improvement of that is a 2.5.
Is it?
Now,
okay.
over 2 dice in 1 and 6 encounter, or 1 and 6 rolls, this does look a lot worse than dueling. Like a lot worse than dueling. So it's not going in B tier. But it's not going in D tier either, because I think the mechanic at its heart is very fun, and I like the high highs that it provides. I think that if you play a character that's playing with a maul or a greatsword, you will re-roll a 1 or a 2, or sometimes both, and you will get a huge result. You'll be like, oh yeah, I don't do 6 damage here. I do friggin' 14. And it feels amazing in the low tiers, especially when you get 1 attack around. The more attacks you see, the more dice you re-roll.
That's true. That I could see this tricking me into thinking it was good while I'm using it.
Yeah, and
I
think
appreciate that kind of manipulation.
Also, I'd also like to point out, when you're looking at just averages, you're missing actionable like differences that are made. And the difference between the difference in the moment of rolling like a 1 and a 2 and an average result is much bigger than an average +2 damage is in that moment, right? So in the moments where you're getting big advantages, the advantage is like more meaningful, I think. But that is speculative and not, debatable. Definitely debatable.
Yeah. All right, next two are similar. First, we start with an Interception.
So yeah, these two kind of serve different points in the game. It's hard to talk about one without talking about the other. So Interception says when a creature you can see hits a target other than you within 5 feet of you with an attack, you can use a reaction to reduce the damage the target takes by a d10 plus your proficiency bonus. You must be wielding a shield or a simple or martial weapon to use this reaction. The idea being you see someone take 12 damage, you go great, shave off 8 of it, right? It feels pretty decent. Now, the unfortunate reality of both of these is that while reactions are good, they're not common enough for me to want to use this. And the reality of a lot of parties
What does
aren't
that
that
mean?
so that like
Excuse me.
the reason
This
shield go ahead.
this is using your reaction.
Yes.
All right, so if they're not common enough, this gives you something to use it for,
I'm saying
something to fill that gap.
this reaction isn't going to come up enough to
Oh, this
justify
particular
taking
one.
it. Yes.
Oh, all right.
The condition of having them be within 5 feet of you is a lot harder to meet than it looks. Combat encounters aren't always clean. They are often engaging people where they can. You're not going to have a lot of great moments where you're going to want to reposition in such a way that you can give someone this boon. You'll try to, especially if you have this on your sheet. But it is not free. This is not a thing that you get every single encounter. This isn't everything you get every single round. This is a thing you have to work for to make good. It doesn't help that it's only really great in the low tiers. As you get into the higher tiers and more instances of higher damage start flying around, the +1 you get every 3 or every 4 levels isn't going to feel nearly as relevant as it did at level 1 when you added a d10 +2. So,
All right,
like,
well, I might need this explained to me one more time. But all right,
sure.
let's say higher tier,
Yeah.
you are going to go fight some big gross creature that's got 100 arms and it's
Okay.
taking, multi-attacking you and your friend.
Yeah.
Or your friend is engaged with it right now. You run over there to help and, stab, and then it chooses to attack your friend like 8 times. But but you only get one reaction. There you go. Okay. All right. Keep talking then. I think I just
That
talked
is,
myself through this.
it's the core issue with both of these fighting styles, Interception and Protection. It doesn't happen enough, and when it does happen, it's not going to feel that impactful most of the time. I think if you're going to play a game that's going to be within the first 5 levels, these are fine. Beyond that, I would not recommend them. So I think they should be comfortably in D tier, starting with Interception, which is the worst of the two. It's
All
better
right,
lower tiers. It's worse later on.
All right. Before I put protection next to it, tell us about it.
Okay, so Protection says when a creature you can see attacks a target other than you that is within 5 feet of you, exact same prereq text as Interception, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the attack roll. You must be wielding a shield. So this doesn't work if you also, like the other one did with martial weapons or simple weapons, you have to have a shield for protection. This is better upper tiers because you're going to mitigate higher quantities of damage than Interception does. Interception says they are not, the way to frame it right is Interception, there's no risk of, you can reduce a lot of damage to 0.
Yes.
Protection is, you have a higher likelihood of reducing more damage in that frame, right?
Right. Interception, the best you're doing is still a finite amount of damage.
Yes.
Whereas protection, you just negate the attack altogether.
Very well said, yes.
Yes.
I like Protection more in the upper tiers. I still don't like either of them in the upper tiers, though. So I think D seems fair for both.
D feels, I don't know, both of these feel a lot better than some of the stuff we've got in C tier.
I know
Especially
with
protection. I mean, just negating an attack altogether.
It's not negating an attack. It's imposing disadvantage on an attack. And
Well,
that
it's
attack has the
potentially
conditions of being within 5 feet of a target that's being attacked that isn't you.
Yes.
So, like, there's a lot of hoops that are being jumped through there.
Yeah.
How often is your paladin or your fighter next to you as the rogue, Bob?
Not often, but because they don't have these fighting styles.
Would you want to be there?
No.
There we
Not
go.
as a rogue.
As a who, then?
As a barbarian.
As the other character with an AC of 18 and 280 hit points? Do you think they'd need that buff?
All right, perhaps not.
Yeah.
As a cleric?
Maybe as a cleric, maybe as a monk, right?
All right, you are making your point. If you're a monk, you deserve to get hit. All right.
I like
I knew
monks
I
for
was
the
gonna
record.
tick people off.
Yeah, it's not. These two are not great. I do think you're definitely able to use all the ones in C tier every single encounter. That's not going to be something that you're concerned about.
Blind fighting?
Yeah. Okay. All right, you might be right. Blind fighting does have a higher ceiling though, like a lot higher of a ceiling.
Yeah.
You can build around that and do some cool things with that. When it comes up, it will matter a lot. Oh, you're calling it a question of blind fighting should even be in C tier. We'll come back to it.
Well, yes, we will come back to these. All right, next we have superior technique.
This is probably the most complicated one. So it says you learn
Yeah, 'cause
one
this
maneuver of
has
your
a
choice.
bunch of maneuvers. Yeah.
Yeah. You learn a maneuver of your choice from the Battle Master maneuvers. If it requires a target make a saving throw, the saving throw is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your strength save. Or strength or dex, your choice. You get a die, which is a superiority die. It's a d6. If you already have superiority dice, it goes into that pool. Otherwise, you just have the one. This die is used to fuel the maneuver. A superiority die is expended when you use it. You gain them back on a short rest.
I don't remember any of the maneuvers.
They're all neat. It's hard to like just tackle this thing on its own because they're kind of like this is sort of just like every single battle master maneuver as a fighting style.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is most of them are like an attack is slightly better and an effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want one attack to be slightly better and an effect, generally speaking. There are some options that are kind of novel. So like ambush says whenever you make a dex stealth check or an initiative roll, you can add the die to the roll when you aren't incapacitated. So hypothetically, you can use that as sort of a way to have your fighting style give you an initiative boon. I don't want that, but maybe somebody out there does. There are options like there's like a quick attack that you can a quick toss. As a bonus action, you can spend a die and make a ranged attack with a thrown weapon, and you can draw it as part of that. So it's kind of like a once per short rest bonus action attack. That's kind of neat. But I don't know if I want to trade off my entire fighting style for that. As a second fighting style, if I'm getting multiples, okay. As a first fighting style, I'm not into this.
You said improves your attack a little bit and an effect, or is that what you said?
Yeah, generally. As an example, pushing attack. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can spend a spirited die to attempt to drive it back. You add the spirited die to the attack's damage roll, and if it's larger or smaller, it makes a save. On a failed save, it's pushed 15 feet.
Oh, 15 feet. That's not bad. I
I
like
said
that.
push, and you were like, I'm on board.
No, no. I was thinking more like, all right, does it make people prone? Does it any restraint or anything like that? Or
There are a lot of these. There's a
are
grappling
there?
strike, so it lets you grapple things. There's a goading
Yeah.
attack that lets things make whiz saves or disadvantage on attack rolls against things other than you. There's a lot of different one of these. It's very challenging for me to like skim through all of them and find the
Yeah.
exacts, but I don't think any of them are worth a once per short rest for
No.
your fighting style.
Once per short rest. That is brutal. Yeah, I don't think so either. D?
Yeah. D seems pretty reasonable. I really think they should have given you 2. 2 is interesting. 1 is too few.
Or just like not once per short rest. As a fighting style, let me use it.
Yeah.
This is a way to fight that I know. I know these little dirty tricks.
Only once per short rest though. You can only figure out how to throw a dagger out of your boot once per short rest.
Man, that really took it out of me. I gotta sit down.
You're attacking with a maul. What do you mean?
All right. Next, we have thrown weapon fighting.
So this is from Tasha's. It says you can draw a weapon that has the thrown property as part of the attack you make with the weapon. It also says when you hit with a ranged weapon using a thrown weapon, you get +2 to the damage roll. This is the thrown weapon build. This is how it works. And thrown weapons are just worse ranged weapons.
That's my opinion, but a lot of people like thrown weapons.
It's cool. Undoubtedly, it's cool. Not good. It's cool. Like, I'll consult the weapon table real quick. And this, for the record, this fighting style is a solid B. This does bring that archetype out of the trash can. Like, for the longest time, you just didn't ever want to play this archetype because there was zero reason to do it. Didn't work with archery. There was, like, you had to use it with, like, dueling and stuff. It was clunky. Not a big fan. But for the most part, like, your payoffs for throwing things are like, oh, that's still D6s, huh? That's still a D6, that's still a D6, that's still a D6. Well, you're limited to basically D6 damage at a 20-ish range. So that's why this is worse than, well, like bows and stuff, I guess. +2 damage, though.
Yeah.
You can use nets. That's neat, but they don't do any damage, so.
They don't do the +2?
Let me check nets real quick. If they do 1 damage, they'll add the +2. Otherwise, no.
Okay. Well, no, I don't think they do the 1 damage.
Then nope, they don't do any
Okay.
damage. I don't think. I could be
Okay.
wrong. Maybe there's a Twitter post somewhere about it, but yeah, I think as a fighting style, this makes throwing things viable. Like and I say viable, closer to things like shooting with a longbow or attacking with duelist or attacking with a great weapon. It's not going to be as good as any of those, but the fact that this fighting style is pulling this hard to make all of your attacks doing +2 damage and remove the constraint of having to draw them every round, it makes it way better.
Yeah.
Before it just like didn't work. Now it works and is decent.
All right, I'm still not excited about it. 2-weapon fighting.
Hold on.
What?
You're excited about archery, which gives you +2 to hit. This lets you draw things for free and do plus damage, and you're low R on it?
Yeah, because it's throwing weapons.
Got it. Got it. You just want to shoot things with the bow. I understand.
Yeah, I don't. If I'm close enough to throw something at them, I'll just go stab them.
That's generally speaking the wisdom as to why this isn't that great. So, yeah, 2-weapon fighting has been around for a while. I've tried it a lot. I don't hate it, but it is worse, especially as longer the game goes. Early, this thing's amazing. So it says whenever you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack, which also teaches people that when you engage in 2-weapon fighting, if you don't have this fighting style, you don't add damage to the offhand attack you make as a bonus action. Should I go over the 2-weapon fighting rules real quick?
Yes, and there was something else that we were talking about recently that I forget. Go ahead.
Okay, so whenever you fight with 2 weapons, the rules state you don't have the ability modifier to the bonus action. Whenever you attack with a weapon that is light, you may make an offhand attack as a bonus action with another light weapon.
Right.
That's how it works. You don't add the ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. They both have to be light. Now, 2-weapon fighting lets you add damage to the second one. Dual wielder removes the restrictions that both have to be light, and that is all of the builds that involve this, I believe.
Okay,
Well,
I remember what I was
options.
thinking of before. Somebody in the comments said something about a crossbow expert not letting you add your ability damage to the second attack, but they were quoting the 2-weapon fighting thing, but that's not the same thing at all.
Wholly unrelated.
Yes.
It's a unique bonus action that is its own unique attack roll.
Yes.
It is specifically whenever you engage in 2-weapon fighting with 2 light weapons, the second light weapon as a bonus action attack doesn't add mod.
Right.
This game is very pedantic.
Yeah. 2-weapon fighting. What do you think?
Once again, I do think this option like drags an archetype out of the gutter. I think that kind of puts it in B tier to me. Like this feels really, really good at levels 1 through 5. The moment you start getting 2, 3, 4 attacks online, though, you quickly realize, man, most of my damage is not coming from this mod or this 2-weapon fighting thing again. But then again, most games play in the low tiers. Most games play into like levels 1 through 9. So I think in
How does this work
tables,
with multi or extra attack?
just doesn't, because it only affects the bonus action attack you make.
Okay.
And you're always making 1 bonus action attack. I would have loved if this got the text, when you gain extra attack, you can make an additional bonus action attack as part of the same thing. Then we'd be cooking with gas. Then we'd have a real powerful, cool direction to build into. Sure doesn't say that, though.
So, who is this best for?
Rangers. I'll get on fighters. Those are the 2 options that get it, so.
Oh, yeah, that narrows it down.
Yeah. I mean, like, the build looks like 2 scimitars and just going ham bone on people. You take some on-hit bonuses like Hunter's Mark if you really want to risk it for the biscuit, and you could just get in there, stack as much damage on the thing as you can, and just attack. The Whirlwind Hunter with Whirlwind Strike, that kind of character that wants to just like attack 1,000,000 times. This is 1 extra attack as a bonus action that you just get.
Yeah. All right, and the last one, unarmed fighting.
This is the worst fighting style ever made. Easy F tier. So unarmed fighting.
I think there's going to be controversy there.
You're multi-classing monk, but worse. Your unarmed strikes can deal bludgeoning damage equal to a d6 plus your strength modifier on hit. If you arm wielding any weapons or a shield when you make the attack, the d6 becomes a d8.
Oh,
woo! Hear me out. What if you used a longsword?
Well, then you wouldn't be unarmed fighting, would you?
You wouldn't, but you would. You could take a different fighting style. You could take defense, and then you're strictly better.
No, when I said there's going to be controversy, I did not mean from me.
Oh, good.
I'm not big on this either.
Like,
I mean, this is Dungeons and Dragons. I don't want to be unarmed.
there's no reason to be unarmed. That's the worst part,
Yeah.
right? Like, how often are you breaking out of a jail cell? It's literally the first session, then never again. Pick up a stick.
Yeah.
This thing is terrible. It's awful.
Pick up a stick. Then you got a druidic warrior. You got a shillelagh.
I will do that build over this every single
Oh,
day
yeah.
of the week. This has tons of problems. Your unarmed strikes don't benefit from light properties or anything, so you can't like give them a 1-2 punch. Literally, you can't do that. You cannot make an offhand bonus action attack with your unarmed strikes. It's illegal. You can't. There's no like reason. That's what it comes down to. There's no reason to use this. There's a reason to use all the other things that we've talked about today. How is that bar so low?
Well, we got the F tier for a reason.
Good to see. All right,
All
let's
right, what do you
reconvene.
think?
Is blind fighting descending 1 tier? Probably should.
Phew.
It's cool, but it sure is narrow.
Yeah, that range, 10 feet. That's all right. I'm putting it down in D. We're gonna get comments about that. People like blind fighting, but
I like it too. Don't get me wrong. You can have fun with it. I think everything in D tier up, you can make characters that do cool things with. But I do think you'll use blind fighting around the same amount of time, or even less frequently than you can use superior techniques. So that's gonna make it tricky. I also think we might want to reconvene on defense. I'm looking at it in the context of these fighting styles, and I think we've got like this clear picture of what the martial characters in this game look like. Ranged characters are great. Archery goes on all those characters. There's the duelist archetype, which isn't necessarily a duelist, but they're the sword and board, the shield and sword, the long sword, rapier, duelist kind of character, uses dueling and they use it effectively. There's the thrown weapon fighters that are not great, but this fighting style uniquely is powerful on them and gives you a reason to use it. And there's two weapon fighting, which is kind of the same deal.
yeah.
I think great weapon fighting is worse than all three of those. And I think defense is enough better than Blessed Ward and Druidic Warrior. I'm willing to put it up into B tier.
Oh, I thought you were gonna try and sink it to D. Okay, I'm with you then.
Well, like if I'm not one of those 4 archetypes, archery, dueling, thrown weapon, 2-weapon, great weapon, like any of the stuff that I already have options for, I think defense is something I'm going to default to a lot. And I think if you want to make a more powerful character, you probably take defense before you take great weapon fighting. So
yeah. But I will agree with you that great weapon fighting sounds like it could be fun.
I will 100% take it over defense every day of the week.
All right. That looks, we've evened the things out a little bit. That looks like a better chart anyway.
Yeah, we could delete S here and just move archery into A. Just say nothing is that busted. None of this is spellcasting. Oh, that's not true. Some of this is spellcasting. It's not even that great.
I'm gonna leave your archery where it is. I like having an S, and I really like archery.
It's really good in this game.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's the reason for the S. It takes like the superior way of fighting and improves that.
Yeah, I do think there's like a market for the polearm fighting style. I don't really think that's here at all. I think it could have been. I think there's like some holes in some commonly played archetypes that could use fighting styles for it. Commenters down below, let us know if you can think of any. I would have loved to see like an improvised weapon one, like a reason to use chairs and stuff, like a tavern brawler fighting style. I think would be sweet.
Or like you're saying, pole arms. Is that covered in any of the superior techniques where you can like trip somebody or hook them or something?
I mean, that's all. That superior technique just does all of those things, right? It's just a million different tricks. But it kind of uses great weapon. It kind of can do dueling if you use them one-handed, if they're versatile. There's no versatile fighting style either, which I think could have been cool. Like maybe upgrade both the dice if you use a versatile weapon. That could be neat. Maybe get a bonus if you switch between the modes. I don't know. It seems like there's missing holes here that could paint a wider array of kinds of martial characters that could be fun. But this is what we got. So at least till next edition.
All right, looks pretty good to me. That was our fighting style rankings. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I know you're going to have some opinions. Can't wait to read them. Leave them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Like, subscribe. Goodbye.